Wow, well, what a huge 3 points, boys, at the Emirates that was for Arsenal. 2-0 in the end against Everton in the title march. One goal from Viktor Gyokeres, 89 minutes in. And Max Dowman in stoppage time, Troy, becomes the youngest goal scorer in Premier League history. The biggest thing, though, what a sigh of relief that was for Mikel Arteta.
Oh, huge sigh of relief, Poppy. When you look at it as well, they're in a situation where everyone keeps questioning, do they have the mental capacity? Are they playing the right football? There's so many questions around them. They just get the job done. Jordan Pickford today, obviously, will look back and say he should have done better with the first goal. But Arsenal are relentless in their approach. They keep going for it. We've got to give Arteta credit as well. Many times he's been told he's too pragmatic, too defensive. He took off Zubamendi today and he put Dowman on, went all out for it. Started with Madueke and Saka as well. So we went fully aggressive to try and get the 3 points today. Ends up getting it by hook or by crook. It wasn't great to watch, but they still got the job done. And if it was anybody else in any other year, we would say, do you know what? That's what champions are made of. And they were great today. So you have to give them that. Again, is it the Man City of the last 5 years that play all these football? No. It's a bit more like old school George Graham. Well, Arsenal, 1-0, and they win it. And once they score, Nigel, sorry to interrupt you, you just never feel like they're never not going to win. Whenever they're in a game, you think they're going to do something.
If you want to simplify it, Arsenal playing winning football, and they deserve credit for that. For us as young men, when we played the game and started to play the game, we always talk about winning. You're not going to play brilliant every single week, but it's about winning and creating that mentality. And that is what Mikel Arteta has done at this Arsenal side right now. We can't sit here and lie and say they play the best football. We know they've got the strongest squad probably in the Premier League when you talk about strength in depth, quality-wise. It's not the most entertaining football, but guess what? They're getting the job done. They're winning. They're doing what they have to do with the destiny in their own hands, sitting at the top of the Premier League.
Is that an evolution, by the way? You're saying this is just what champions do, they win. This is not what Arsenal have done in the last few seasons.
It's an evolution for Arsenal, for what we've criticised them for, saying they don't know how to win ugly, they don't know how to get the job done. Now they're doing it. So we have to give them credit. I don't really get into that argument of, oh, they play for set pieces. No, you play to your strengths. I've seen great footballing sides do that. I'm talking about the great Manchester United sides under Alex Ferguson. What did Alex Ferguson always do? Play to his strengths of the players that he had. That is what Mikel Arteta is doing. Getting the winning brand of football. They're just winning. That's all they have to do. You're sitting top of the Premier League. It's for everyone else to try and chase you and unsettle you. You stay focused at the task in hand. It's all in your hands right now. Going into this game, you're talking about a potential banana slip because Everton have been doing fantastically well under David Moyes. They have the second best record from away from home in the Premier League. And the only team that has the better record away from home is Arsenal. So it's always going to be a difficult game. And we would have thought watching that game that this game had a draw written all over it. Then people would be ready to criticise Arsenal. Oh, they dropped points at home to Everton. But they got the job done. Mikel Arteta was aggressive in his substitutions that he did, chasing the game. Just look at the celebrations by the Arsenal bench and the players of what that win meant today.
Do you know what they do as well? Obviously, City are playing after that. They just crank the pressure up a little bit at a time, And the way I was just describing it to my annoyingly 16-year-old son, who is a massive Arsenal fan, I was saying he's a little bit like Floyd Mayweather. Like, you know he's going to do it. He's boxing beautifully, beats you on points, but you want to see a knockout. But you know they're just going to get the job done. It's a bit like Arsenal at the moment. And also, for my 16-year-old son, Max Dowman is 16. You need to do more. You need to do more. Because you were going to college and doing nothing. Max Dowman, I don't know Max Dowman or his dad, but I know his dad's a lot prouder than I am at the moment.
Stop it, that's not true. Max Dowman obviously playing a role in the
Obviously, I'm joking, guys.
The super subs today were special, weren't they? Just by the way, the remaining fixtures for Arsenal in the Premier League, here they are. In between that, they've got Leverkusen, who they've got in the Champions League. Then they've got the Carabao Cup final against Manchester City. So that will define their season before this run-in to close it. But the biggest thing now, Troy, is back in their hands, isn't it, after Manchester City did drop points? Yeah,
of course. As we do this now, it's 10. They've got 2 games in hand, 10 points clear. So, again, if we just assume that Man City have won both of them, it's still 4 points with these games coming up. Bournemouth it's a tricky one, but one I fancy Arsenal to just have too much for. The key games are the ones that we're attending, which is the Carabao Cup final. I think if City beat them in that, I said it many weeks ago, Nigel will probably remember, the mental games come in at that. If City
100%.
beat them there, and then City beat them on April 19th as well, it could just change everything. And really quickly, they could be 1 point behind at that point.
I would also throw a little spanner in Troy's works there. I wouldn't overlook Leverkusen the second leg of the Champions League. They weren't fantastic away from home. They know how much of a big game that is. So you've got the Leverkusen game, and then you've got a cup final. This week is probably Arsenal's biggest week in a run-up to the season with everything at stake.
Do you not feel we're going to say that every week?
Yeah.
No.
Until they get it done?
No, because this...
The Carabao Cup is the exception because that'll finish. But you're right. Every week that builds on this Champions League, the competition on paper gets bigger.
Because the run that they've got and the bracket that they fall into in the Champions League.
But then you look, OK, but then what happens now if Leverkusen surprise everyone and get the win, which is possible in the Champions League, and Arsenal out of the Champions League, then play Manchester City in the League Cup final with still a lot of games left to play in the Premier League, and if they lose to Manchester City, that's out of the Champions League, losing to Manchester City. That's why I say this week is very defined.
It's hanging in the balance, isn't it? 1-1, by the way, on aggregate for them and Leverkusen. It's in North London, though, this week for the return leg, which is another good thing for the Gunners being at home. Meanwhile, let's just talk about Chelsea very quickly because they won today, didn't they, Troy? What did you... I know you were watching this game.
They lost.
Sorry, they lost, didn't they?
Yeah,
you were watching this game, 1-0 to Newcastle. Anthony Gordon, of all people as well, that was kind of criticised this past week in the Champions League, scoring just the lone goal. Yeah,
obviously criticised by club legend in Alan Shearer for missing the game or being on the bench for the game.
Credit to Eddie Howe for coming to defend his player. Let the reason come out for why he didn't play where it was his decision. So credit to Eddie Howe, why I rate him so much as a manager, stepping in front of that.
Well, and again, Nigel's going to get a little bit annoyed at me because obviously Liam Rosenior is a friend of his, but in terms of like experience right now, for Eddie Howe's substitutions in this game really helped him. Talking to Chelsea, specifically to Chelsea, I've said it for years now, I don't know what they are. I really don't know what they're trying to do. This whole model of buying young, and expecting this young team to understand what comes with experience, with winning things. They're young. They've got to go on that journey. And apparently they're all going to do it together and just get over the line. It doesn't work like that. It never has worked like that in the history of this game. So for Chelsea to think that they could just completely change it, Liam Rosenior is a young coach trying to do his thing, and I really do want him to do well, genuinely want him to do well. They've spent more time thinking about what they're going to do before the game, taking a huddle on the halfway line, and before we go off, we're all going to come together. It's like this whole...
Is it too much for you?
It's like school kids. And again, he has that because of the age, right? But you see the goal today, the high line, again, which they also got beat by PSG in the week on. Again, a high line straight through the middle of the pitch. It's wonderful play from Joe Willock as well, by the way, because he's going through 1v1 and he just slips it to Anthony Gordon. Most people in that, Nigel, would go, let me try and score. He just slips it across, Gordon scores. Chelsea, for all the talent that they have, when they make substitutions, they get drastically worse. 20 to 30% worse. They took off Caicedo today, put Lavia on. Lavia is obviously talented, but not at the level. It drops from Caicedo. They bring on Liam Delap, good player, not at the level, drops. And it must be really frustrating as a manager when you know you need to make changes and you look to your bench and you're hopeful. I hope this player can come in and do something.
Well, this is the same frustration that Enzo Maresca faced at Chelsea. You talk about the situation of wanting another centre-back, but wanting an experienced centre-back. We criticise the centre-backs, and especially for Fana, I think he's got potential. But is he really going to develop? How is he going to develop when there's no senior player next to him, teaching him the game and understanding where the game is at, feeling the moment of the game of what to do? Steps up, makes a terrible mistake again today. Didn't have a great time in the Champions League game as well. It's never going to get better. This model will not work. I don't believe it will work. Maybe I might be proven wrong. If I'm proven wrong, I will say I was wrong. But I don't see it working. When you talk about football, I always say balance is so important. If people want something to compare, class of 96, Manchester United, Alex Ferguson, when all the Beckhams and Scholes all came through, but guess what they had? Senior older players around them, like the likes of Roy Keane, Garrick Pallister, and some of those legends were already at the club. So you can bring a crop of youngsters through, but guess who taught them about winning, what it means to play for this club? All those legends that already won before them, those senior players, for them to be the next foundation block of the next bunch of youngsters that came through Manchester United.
Can I ask you a question? So Reece James has just signed a 6-year deal. Obviously, he's been at Chelsea his whole time. And great that he's right behind me in that picture. Well done, team behind there. But does that give you a sign of intent? or does that say that he's comfortable where he is? Because I don't see this Chelsea team in the next 6 years winning the Premier League.
I don't either. I agree with you.
Does that make sense? Like, is he signing because it's comfortable, or is he signing because he genuinely believes in 6 years' time they could win the league?
Whether they've sold him a great story from up above, because I know he said he had a meeting with the hierarchy to see what the plan for the club is. But I think for me, that's someone that's comfortable. Your club captain. There's no one else that's going to come in and be club captain unless they're a real big personality and a big character, which Chelsea will not do because it goes away from the model and the blueprint that they had. So for me, that is someone being comfortable in the situation he's in, knowing he's going to be captain of Chelsea for a long time to come. But again, I think with these mistakes we keep seeing, it's the same story. I know people might not like to hear it. They are too young. Too young and too naive.
Which is, I suppose, it's just frustrating because to the fans from the outside looking in, too young is a bit of an easier fix, right? To bring a few veteran players in is on, you would think, an easier job than to find the next big thing in some of these young superstars that they have. On paper as well, PSG 5-2 down on aggregate. Yes, they're at Stamford Bridge this week to come in the Champions League, but losing to Newcastle. This is a team, Nige, that won the Champions League not too long ago. It's not like Chelsea haven't had success. I mean, even with the Conference League, the Club World Cup, this team's won trophies. So.
They have. And it's for me, again, it goes to the same conversation. If you look at the pattern, when Thomas Tuchel took over and they won the Champions League, at that point, some of the senior players weren't playing. And what did Thomas Tuchel do? Bring back those senior players who were kind of putting it outside of the squad, back into the squad, and they're going to run. And one of the key players for me was Rudiger. Rudiger came back into the squad. He wasn't playing, wasn't really involved under, I think it was Frank Lampard before him. He brought them back in, got them on side, and they're going to win things. Now this whole new blueprint doesn't want senior players. And I agree with you. I think for me, if they do bring in a few more senior experienced players with bigger characters, then I do see them competing for a Premier League title. I do see them winning stuff. But because they're unwilling to do that, I can't see how they take forward. Because the same mistakes we make, the things that we say are schoolboy errors. It's just basic football where senior players will be able to get you through that and they can learn proper and learn how to play the game of football at a high level.
Also, as well, just on the picture behind me, one big developing issue that they've got. Who's the number one goalkeeper?
That's very true.
It was literally 3 days ago, it was Jorgensen, is now the number one. Today, Sanchez is back in. So even at one of the most vital positions on the pitch, in goalkeeper, there's neither of those two, to me, make me feel confident that they're going to be the goalkeeper that we build on moving forward.
Yeah.
So you've got that issue. You've got two centre-halves who, to Nigel's point, aren't in this situation where you go, right, they're both the number ones and this is how it's going to be and this is what we can do moving forward. So for nearly £2 billion that's been spent, they're still in a situation where we go, haven't got the goalie we want, haven't got the centre-halves we want, haven't got a left winger we want. With £2 billion, do they spend another £2 billion?
It's a big question, isn't it, for the Blues? Just very quickly before we go, you two have been a captain. What would you think in this moment? By the way, look at Paul Tierney as well, the referee. Bit awkward for him, no?
The game is gone.
It's a beautiful moment. It's a funny moment. It's humorous. Look at it.
The game has officially gone.
I mean, listen, if this is what they want to do, this is
feels like AI.
what comes with it. No, it was real.
It looks photoshopped.
It was so real, and it was absolutely amusing when I saw it.
Do you know why it's even worse? What does that do? Someone tell me. What?
Team
Chelsea
spirit,
go. People do, yeah, but they do it in their own half. Why do you have to go to the centre circle? Tell me what that does. Somebody.
I don't know, but it's probably a statement that they're trying to make. But then, you know what?
The statement that they make is you look stupid.
Be prepared for what comes with it, and now you lost at home to Newcastle, so now get ready.
By the way, losing to Newcastle is not the big deal, because Newcastle are a good side. We're all aware of that.
But if you're going to do all of that at home and you're Chelsea at home...
Please put that picture back up one more time. Please, just for me, because my head's falling off here.
Troy,
what is Paul Tierney thinking there?
If you were a player, though, for Chelsea, would you be like, boys, what are we doing here?
Somebody's got to go, ref, move. Or the ref's got to go, lads, move. I'm aware. Nobody in this situation has gone, this looks stupid. Nobody, not the ref, not the players. Again, I'm all for like doing the team huddle before, having those last couple of words just to get everybody up for it. Why do you have to do it in the middle of the pitch? Well, you look stupid, you look childish. Sorry, Poppy, but it's wound me up. And it really has wound me up. What are we doing? The game was gone.
Senior said it was all on the players. He had nothing to do with it.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Blame somebody else. That's why he's Nigel's friend.
Disappointing day today at Stamford Bridge. They're losing 1-0 to Newcastle. We'll see what they can do in London this week against PSG in the Champions League.